Good morning, students. Welcome back to online class. Today we are going to discuss about buoyancy. We already discussed that a body experiences an upward force due to the fluid surrounding when it is partially or fully immersed into it. We also know that pressure is more at the bottom and less at the top of the liquid. This pressure difference causes a force on the object and pushes it upward. This force is called buoyant force and the phenomenon is also called buoyancy. Most buoyant objects are those with a relatively high volume and low density. If the object weighs less than the amount of water it has displaced when density is less. Buoyant force will be more and it will float. Such object is known as positively buoyant. But if the object weighs more than the amount of water it has displaced when the density is more, buoyant force is less and the object will sink. Such object is known as negatively buoyant. Buoyant force are otherwise called upward force. Look at the picture clearly, students. This picture will explain about buoyant force. When an object immersed in liquid, there will be two forces acting on the object. One is upward force and another one is downward force. Downward force due to the gravity pull. Upward force will be acting due to the pressure at the bottom of the liquid and the density of the object. When the density of the object is less, the object will be floating above the surface of the fluid or liquid. That is due to the upward force. Let me pass on to the next topic, which is Cartesian diver. Cartesian diver is an experiment that demonstrates the principle of buoyancy. It is a pen cap with clay. The Cartesian diver contains just enough liquid that it barely floats in the path of the liquid. Its remaining volume is filled with air. When pressing the path, the additional water enters the diver, thus increasing the average density of the diver, and thus it sinks. This is the way Cartesian diver is working. Let me pass on to the next topic, which is Archimedes principle. Archimedes principle is the consequence of Pascal's law. According to legend, Archimedes devised the principle of the hydrostatic balance after he noticed his own apparent loss in weight. What is that apparent loss in weight? You can consider any object. When you immerse the object completely in water surroundings, you may feel that object it loses some weight. This is what they are coming to say by apparent loss in weight. So what he experiences, While sitting in his path, the story goes that he was so enthused with his discovery that he jumped out of his path and ran through the town, shouting like Eureka. Archimedes' principle states that a body immersed in a fluid experiences a vertical upward buoyant force equal to the weight of the fluid it displaces. When a body is partially or completely immersed in a fluid at rest, it experiences an upthrust. What is upthrust? Upthrust or upward force or buoyant force, both are same, which is equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by it. Due to the upthrust acting on the body, it apparently loses a part of its weight, and the apparent loss of weight is equal to the upthrust. Still, now I explained how the object is lose the weight. What is the reason for losing the weight? I explained. Once again, let me explain clearly. Look at the picture, student. In the first picture, figure A, there is a spring balance with a weight. That block weight in air surrounding is 10 N. The same object, when you immerse in the water, when you completely immerse in the water, it loses some weight. How much weight it loses? Previously, the object weight in air surrounding is 10 N. When the same object completely immersed in a liquid, it loses some weight, which is 4 N weight it lost. This is what I told you. When you immerse any object in the liquid, you feel a loss of weight. The same thing here also happened. Once again, the weight of the object in air is 10 N. The same weight of the object in water surrounding, which is 6 N. So what is the loss of weight? 4 N. When you immerse the object in water, the object will be displaced. That you know well. The displaced water, when you collect and when you measure what is the weight of the displaced water, that weight will be a 4 N, which is how much is lost when the object is completely immersed in the water, which will be equal. This is what Archimedes' principle says. Once again, what is that? When the object completely immersed in the water, it loses some weight. The loss of weight, which will be equal to the weight of the water displaced by the object. This is what the Archimedes' principle says. Have you understood, student? Let me pass on to the next topic, which is a laws of flotation. We have two laws of flotation. The first one point, what it says: the weight of a floating body in a fluid is equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by the body. Second point, the center of gravity of the floating body and the center of buoyancy are in the same vertical line, which is shown in the figure. The second point you can note down. The center of gravity of the floating body and the center of buoyancy are in the same vertical line. Center of gravity is denoted by the red color, and center of buoyancy is represented by the blue color arrow mark. The point through which the force of buoyancy is supposed to act is known as center of buoyancy. Thank you, students. I hope you are all understood. Thank you.
Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to the chemistry class. Today we discuss Newland's law of octaves. In the previous class we discussed Dauber-Reines triads. So today we discuss Newland's law of octaves. This is John Newland's. In 1866, John Newland arranged 56 known elements in the increasing order of their atomic mass. He observed that every eighth element had properties similar to those of the first element, like the eighth note in an octave of music is similar to the first. This arrangement was known as law of octaves. The octave of an Indian music system is sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. The first and last notes of this octave are same, that is sa. That means the first and eighth note are same, that is sa. Likewise, in the Newland's table of octaves, the element fluorine is eighth from the element hydrogen. Thus, they have similar properties. According to Newland's law, every eighth element had properties similar to those of the first element. And students, what are the limitations of Newland's law of octaves? Because Newland's arranged the elements in the increasing order of their atomic masses, and he arranged that 56 elements known at that time. First element and the eighth element having the similar properties. This is Newland's law of octaves. And now we see the limitations of Newland's law of octaves. The first limitation is two elements being fitted into the same slot. For example, cobalt and nickel. That cobalt and nickel, that elements are fitted in the same box, same slot. Second limitation. Some elements totally dissimilar in their properties were fitted into the same group. See the first row. Hydrogen, fluorine, chlorine, cobalt, nickel, bromine, palladium, iodine, platinum and iridium are present. We know fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine are halogens. But cobalt, nickel, palladium, platinum and iridium are metals. These metals are arranged in the row of halogens. So, some elements totally dissimilar in their properties were fitted into the same group. So, this is the second limitation of Newland's table. And the third limitation. This law was restricted to only 56 elements and did not leave any space for new elements. We know day by day new elements will be discovered, but this table was restricted to only 56 known elements at that time and did not leave any space for new elements. And next limitation. After the discovery of inert gases, that is noble gases, for example neon argon, at later stage made the ninth element similar to the first one. So, example neon between fluorine and sodium. So, the total arrangement, the first and eighth element will be same, already we discussed, but after the discovery of inert gases, that arrangement is totally collapsed. At later stage made the ninth element similar to the first one. So, these are the limitations of Newland's law of octaves. And students, what have you learned today? Newland's law of octaves. And Newland's arranged how many elements? 56 known elements at that time. And he arranged these 56 elements in the increasing order of their atomic masses. And every eighth element had properties similar to those of the first element, like the eighth note in an octave of music. And students, I hope all of you understood this Newland's table and drawbacks of Newland's table. And next class we discuss Mendeleev's periodic table and modern periodic table. Thank you.